With their rapid reproduction rate and high adaptability, wild boars are invading many cities across Europe, forcing researchers and authorities to find solutions. In Italy alone, wild boars cause up to $22 million in agricultural damage every year. But it's not just agriculture that's affected. Daily life is also under siege. Wild boars have begun entering residential areas, with homes that have lush gardens and greenery becoming their prime targets. In just one night, a once beautiful yard can be left in ruins. To protect quality of life and the future of farming, the government has called in hunters. Although around 295,000 wild boars are eliminated each year, their numbers show no signs of decreasing. Join me on today's journey to see how we deal with these relentless destroyers. Joining me on this mission are seasoned teammates from the organization. We prepared thoroughly from weapons to essential gear, leaving no detail unchecked. To boost our chances of success, the team brought along elite hunting dogs, indispensable allies. These dogs are not only gifted with exceptional scent tracking abilities but are also expertly trained, ready to lead the way or charge in to chase and corner our targets. The forest air was eerily still. But that silence was short-lived. Suddenly, a massive herd of wild boars around 20 strong burst out ahead of us, causing the entire group to freeze for a split second. There was no time to hesitate. Instinct kicked in. I raised my gun, aimed at the lead boar, and pulled the trigger. Instantly, my teammates sprang into action. A volley of gunfire echoed through the forest, merging with the pounding of feet. One wild boar was hit and fell to the ground, its painful squeal sending panic through the herd. The rest scattered in all directions, but we didn't stop. The team gave chase. Our hunting dogs, as if fueled by adrenaline, charged ahead at lightning speed, guiding our pursuit. Within less than 10 minutes, 2 more full-grown wild boars were brought down. There they lay, massive, bristled bodies with fading breaths. Our trophies were secured, yet the forest remained ominously quiet. A wave of excitement mixed with caution swept over us. We knew the hunt wasn't over. New challenges were likely lurking just beyond the trees. Of about 300 meters, I peered through the scope, drawing a deep breath. Through the optical lens, I could clearly see the adult boar's muscular, powerful, moving slowly, still on high alert. A gunshot rang out, tearing through the stillness. But the boars sensed danger just in time and dodged the incoming shot. They bolted at an incredible speed, and the bullet merely grazed past, embedding itself into the dirt. Still, we didn't back down. Our fighting spirit ignited like fire. I quickly reloaded. In the end, our persistence and unwavering efforts paid off. Yet the journey was far from over. In the chaos, 2 wild boars broke away from the herd, charging in the opposite direction, perhaps hoping that scattering would help them escape danger. I immediately raised my rifle, eyes locked on their every movement. A perfect shot struck the first boar square in the side. The second one, sensing danger, bolted deeper into the forest. But I wasn't about to let it get away. With a swift motion, I turned, adjusted the scope, and took the shot. Another target down. Along the hillside, another herd of wild boars suddenly appeared, weaving their way through the dense underbrush. The entire team immediately took their positions, readying for the attack. Sensing danger, the boars all bolted at once, triggering a heart-pounding chase. We didn't hesitate, we stuck close behind, determined not to let them escape. I aimed for the last boar in the group and pulled the trigger. My teammates quickly opened fire. Another one was taken down, lying motionless among the bushes. As the hunt came to an end, our efforts yielded a considerable bounty. Clearly, when hunting is scientifically organized and tightly controlled, it's not just a method of population management, it's also the last line of defense for farmers to protect their harvests. You feel that the way we hunt wild boars is a bad thing? And you feel sorry for them? That is when your farm and all your food crops are not destroyed by wild boars. These animals invade farmers' farms every day and even attack passers-by who are unlucky enough to encounter them. That is why we and the farmers have to exterminate wild boars. The most effective method at present is to use heavy weapons. Farmers take extreme measures to kill wild boars in Texas. According to statistics, there are more than 2.6 million wild boars in Texas, and you know, wherever there is food, they will invade and destroy everything. They cause damage up to several $100 million each year in Texas alone, and the most serious damage is agricultural damage. We once lost all our food because of wild boars. Wild boar hunting is encouraged in the Federation, however traditional hunting methods are not very effective, and the number of wild boars is growing, so we are forced to use extreme measures. Heavy weapons are used for hunting and controlling wild boars, and of course this is within the law of the state. You can see the heavy guns used on this hunt. They are all military guns with extremely powerful killing power. It can eliminate hundreds of wild boars after each hunt. This method is quite expensive and it is quite extreme when condemned by wildlife conservationists, but it is the most effective method in controlling wild boars. We prepared an armored vehicle, a 6-barreled M134 machine gun. This type of gun has a 6-barreled cluster structure combined with an electric motor to rotate the gun barrel. Thanks to the electric motor, the M134 has an extremely high rate of fire, about 6,000 rounds a minute. Because it is quite heavy, we had to mount it on the armored vehicle's weapon rack. Because it can shoot continuously, the herd of wild boars was quickly defeated. Its destructive power was terrible. Of course, using heavy weapons to hunt wild boar is very expensive. But without effective methods of control, the loss caused by this species is even more terrible. Because wild boars often forage at night, hunting wild boars also has limited visibility. An effective hunting method is to apply thermal imaging. With the thermal camera, we can detect wild boars at a long distance or through obstacles such as bushes or grass, or in cold, foggy weather. It is easier for us to use the thermal camera when hunting wild boars at night. Although the damage is not as good as a machine gun, the very accurate range helps us save a lot of bullets.
What you got there, bud?
One method of hunting wild hogs that may be unfamiliar to you, but is popular in Texas, is by helicopter. You might think that only snipers who are paid to eliminate animals would pursue this type of hunting, but you'd be wrong. In states like Texas, certain outfitters are licensed to take hunters out and shoot wild hogs from a flying helicopter. It's a pretty wild adventure, but it comes at a price. Expect to spend a few $1,000s if this is the route you want to take.
Hey! there, bud? Hey, what you got there, bud?
Ça fait à peine un quart d'heure qu'il fait nuit, il y a des sangliers partout. Regarde-moi ça, il y a une. Ah, c'est dingue. Tiens, regarde, il y a le gros mâle, il fait partir tout le monde. Parfait, la balle est top, il est parti.
Ja, gib mir da one. How near is he at the front? Hang on. I'm picking him off.
Unlike the rest of the world, hunting wild hogs in Alabama is unlimited and there is no closing season. My grandmother lives in this area, and she often complains about being harassed by wild pigs. The bad habits of wild pigs make people feel disgusted and want to chase them away. There is no other way. Today, I will go hunting, hoping to reduce their destruction. Let's start the hunting trip right away. It is difficult to give exact statistics on the amount of damage caused by wild pigs to farmers in the state, but it is estimated to be in the tens of millions of dollars. Most of the damage is caused by feral pigs using their tusks to dig through fields or pastures in search of food. Managers receive a lot of calls complaining about damage caused by feral pigs, which peaks in the spring, when farmers plant crops that the pigs will dig through. Wild pigs are everywhere, especially in wheat fields, causing terrible damage. Not only do they gnaw on crops, but they also leave dirty tracks wherever they go. Not only that, wild pigs love to appear in places with water sources, so many farmers' water wells have been contaminated by them. With a T3X varmint, my neighbors and I were ready to start hunting today. The first place was definitely the small forest near my grandmother's house. In the dense grass, it was not difficult for me to spot a shiny, fat black wild boar. With absolute accuracy, the first shot helped me quickly take down the wild boar. A moment later, we cautiously ambushed behind the dense bushes. It was a herd of wild boars. They were not big, but each one was fat and agile. As soon as they appeared in my sight, a decisive shot rang out. The shot aimed straight at the head, causing the wild boar to collapse on the spot. The remaining ones were frightened and disappeared into the forest. We still waited patiently for the wild boar to appear again. As expected, this time a herd of wild boars appeared with an even larger number. I aimed at the largest wild boar, shooting at its weak point so that I could take it down with just one shot. Half an hour after the wild boars ran away, another herd of wild boars appeared and diligently picked up the scattered grains on the ground. With this tactic, we hunted quite a few wild boars. But we didn't stop there. Until it got dark, we continued our hunt. In the dark field, with the help of the ATN Thor 4 thermal binoculars, I easily observed the target. In the middle of the field, the wild boar was leisurely gnawing, but I didn't let that happen for too long. Aiming straight at its head, I quickly pulled the trigger, successfully taking down the target. It was disgusting to stand there and watch them gnaw on the crops, so I didn't wait and shot immediately. Moving along the field, I realized that the problem was really serious. The wild boars were leisurely munching on the wheat that the farmers had worked so hard to grow. After observing carefully, I decided to take a shot. It wasn't too difficult. The thermal scope helped me observe more easily. In the distance, a herd of wild boars was still continuing to destroy the wheat. After careful consideration, I chose the largest wild boar, which was moving alone, as my target. After a few seconds of countdown, the gunshot immediately rang out, finishing off the prey. As it started to get dark, more and more wild boars appeared. They gathered in herds, making loud noises. There were too many wild boars. I could only aim at the most favorable targets, hoping to kill as many wild boars as possible. The crisp gunshots rang out continuously. The wild boars fell one by one, and I became extremely excited. But I did not want to stop there, because the wild boars were too numerous, and they were capable of flattening the farmer's field. We waited patiently and took down the wild boars when we had the chance. When everything seemed to be over, I could return home after today's hunting trip, and an unexpected scene appeared. A herd of nearly 10 wild boars were gathering to feed. It only took me a few seconds to prepare, then immediately raised my gun and fired at the leader. It was probably a sow, the largest in the herd. Its speed was extremely agile, so I had to fire a series of shots to hit the target. The wild boars scattered and ran away, but I was still determined to kill them all. I kept adjusting my gun, aiming at the target and shooting. The spoils we got were not small, but it was not until the silhouettes of the wild boars completely disappeared from the field that I felt safe enough to return home.
For miles, and it's just like that. They just get in a single file line.
After a long hunting trip, although quite tired, I still felt extremely satisfied. The best thing for me is that I can contribute to reducing the number of wild pigs here.
You're in with the head, right?
Sure?
Yeah.
I think it should actually.